Let's talk about a hidden superpower, one that you use every single day without even realizing it. It's the art of approximation, the magic of being close enough, and honestly, is what keeps our crazy complex world from falling apart. So, let's dive in. But first, I've got a question for you. Just think for a second about all the numbers flying around in your life, on your phone, from your bank, in the news. Are they really as precise and perfect as they look? The answer might actually surprise you. And that leads us right into our first big idea here, the myth of exact numbers. See, we are all taught that precision is everything, that being exact is the goal. But we're about to see why sometimes perfect is the last thing you want. Okay, here's the perfect example. Your bank account might say you have, 10,542 naira 73 cents. Super specific, right? But if a friend asks what you've got, you're not going to say all that. You're just going to say, about 10.5. And listen, that's not you being lazy. That's you being efficient. You're cutting through the noise to get to what actually matters. And that right there, that's the whole point. We live in a world that is just flooded with messy, complicated numbers. Chasing after perfect precision can actually drown you in details and make things harder to understand. It's like trying to see the whole painting by staring at one single brush stroke. You need a smarter tool. And what is that tool? Well, that brings us to the power of about. This is where we stop fighting all that complexity and we start using a much smarter approach. The official name for this is approximation. It's just the process of finding a number that is acceptably close to the real thing. And let's be super clear on this. This is not about getting the answer wrong. It is the exact opposite. It's about being intelligent with information, choosing clarity over clutter. You know, a perfect case study is the number pi. On the one hand, you've got this number that literally goes on forever. Can you imagine trying to use that in a real calculation? It would be a total nightmare. But then on the other hand, you've got 3.14. We all know it, we all use it, it's clean, it's simple, and for almost everything in the real world, it is perfectly good enough. So, how do we actually do this? Well, the most common way is something you definitely learned back in school, rounding. And the good news is, the rules are way simpler than you might remember. Okay, let's just walk through it with a number like 47.8. First step, you figure out what you're rounding to. In this case, the nearest whole number. So we're looking at that 7. Step 2, you just take a little peek at the number right next door. Here, it's an 8. And finally, the golden rule. 5 or more, you round up. Since 8 is definitely more than 5, that 47.8 just becomes a nice, clean 48. Simple, right? Alright, you know it, you know how it works, but why does it matter? Well, this is the cool part. Once you start looking for it, you will realize this isn't some dusty old math trick. Approximation is literally everywhere. It's quietly running the world around you. Just look down at your phone. You see that little Wi-Fi symbol, those bars? That is not an exact measurement. It's a beautiful approximation. It takes all this incredibly complex radio wave data and boils it down to a simple, useful signal that answers the only question you care about: is my connection any good? Or think about this. Pull out a calculator and divide 10 by 3. The true answer is 3.3333 forever. But your calculator doesn't show you that, does it? It cuts it off. It approximates the answer so it can actually fit on the screen, and you can use it. That little machine is doing the hard work of approximation for you. And the list just goes on and on. It's in your bank account, where tiny fractions of a cent are rounded off in interest calculations. And here's the big one. It's the fundamental principle of how computers work. The real world is analog. It's infinitely complex, but computers only get on or off, ones and zeros. So every digital photo, every song you listen to is actually just a stunningly accurate approximation of reality. Even the name of your Wi-Fi network is just a simple label for a complex digital connection. It really is the silent language of all modern technology. Okay, so we've seen what it is, how it works, and where it's hiding in plain sight. Now, as we wrap this up, I've got one final challenge for you. Something to take this idea out of this explainer and put it into your world. From this moment on, just start to notice. When you guess how long a drive will take, when you glance at your phone's battery and think, yeah, that's enough. When you tell someone you'll be there in about 5 minutes, you're approximating. So how many times will you do it today? My guess is the answer is probably, well, close enough. Thanks for watching.